Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope all my students are okay. That's pretty good. Well, today is session number 10, and I hope that by this time you understand what is phonetics, and I hope that you understand that we can understand the consonant sounds of English, or maybe consonant sounds. That there are three bases or three aspects that we can classify the consonants, and the first is the voicing, second is the place of articulation, and third is the manner of articulation. During session number 9, I remember that I had a talk with you so far as the manner of articulation is concerned. Let me tell you now, we are going to jump in the world of vowels from today, and I need your cooperation. I need certain activities you have to do when I request you. So let's start our work. Well, dear students, this is session number 10, and now we are in the 5th week of our semester, and of course the things will be getting a little bit more technical the way we proceed. Okay, so I hope that you are ready to do the things which we need to do today. Okay, that's pretty good. Our today's topics are: first we'll try to understand the description of speech sounds, but we shall be spending much time, or rather more time, on the understanding of the description of vowels. First of all, we'll try to describe the vowels, right? And definitely we should try to do some sort of activity so that we may be able to understand what are English vowels. Okay? Before we start anything else, I think it's very important to understand what is the description of speech sounds. Let's read some statements and then try to understand. An ideal description of speech sound should include information concerning the production, transmission, and reception stages of sounds. I hope that you can recall the very important thing, that what is in fact phonetics. That is the study of the speech sounds, but so far as their production is concerned, transmission is concerned, and reception is concerned. By this time, I'm sure that each one of you understand what are different stages, one production, second transmission, and reception of speech sound. How produced, what sound produced, and how perceived. Clear? It should describe a sound in terms of the movement of the organ speech, nature of the sounds which is produced, and feature perceived by the listener. This is what I am trying to explain when I just read the first line or the first statement. What is the nature of the sound? Acoustic. How it is produced? Articulatory. And what are the features in fact one sound contains? Perception. Do you remember the first slide when I presented before you a speaker and a listener? The lips of the speaker and ear of the listener or hearer. Do you remember? That's great. And after seeing that particular slide, a then diagram, whatever it is, or that photograph, now what we have done, we have spent 9 regular continuous sessions on understanding the speaker's lips and hearer's ears. What is in between them? This is what I told you on that day. The complete world is there. So this is the complete world that we have to understand. What in fact is the role of the organs of speech? To understand the nature of the sounds which is produced, alright, what kind of sound is produced, how it is produced, and how perceived. Then the last statement says, but such as description would be lengthy and complex, and may provide information much of which may be irrelevant to particular purpose. So if you start analyzing some more features, what happens that it becomes complex, it becomes intricate to understand. That's why I tried my level best to be very simple, so that you may be able to understand what is phonetics in fact, and what are different branches of phonetics. and I tried my level best to present before you simple example by providing simple words, and at the same time what are the things involved to understand these three stages. Remember, without understanding these stages, because these are the concepts behind phonetics, and I told you, you must have your conceptual understanding, without which it is not easy for both you and me to understand phonetics and phonology. My dear honorable students, we've been trying to classify English speech sounds, alright? And time and again I had a discussion on this. We have got two classes of English speech sounds. Of course, vowels and consonants. I want you to listen what I'm going to say, and then I shall elaborate. The statement says, the basic difference between these two classes is that in the production of the former, the air stream meets with no obstruction of any kind in the throat, the nose, or the mouth, while in that of the latter, it is somehow obstructed. I repeat, the basic difference between these two classes is that in the production of the former, the air stream meets with no obstruction of any kind in the throat, the nose, or the mouth, while in that of the latter, it is somehow obstructed. I hope you remember I had a talk with you while picking up the first session when I said if there is a question on you that what is the difference between a consonant and a vowel, and the answer, very simple answer, is that while producing a consonant, the air stream is blocked, obstructed somewhere in between the lungs and the lips. But when we produce the vowel sounds, what happens? There is no obstruction for the vowels in between the lungs and the lips. So this is what is written in this statement. You have to understand. We've been talking about English consonants, right, for many days. And I tried my level best to tell you each and every consonant separately. So as the class is concerned, what kind of articulators are involved, what kind of structure is involved, what is the name of each and every consonant, right? And what is the procedure to produce them. At the same time, I tried to present before you certain diagrams containing speech organs, containing some other demonstrations when you are to understand that, okay, what is the way to understand that this is the stop sound, that is a plosive sound. Okay, now you must remember from now on what you need to understand is that you must keep in mind that I have done enough so far as the understanding of consonants is concerned, but now we have to talk about and we have to describe vowels. So there is a different methodology to apply to understand vowels. But you must not forget one point, and that is, so when we produce a consonant, the airstream is obstructed, but when we produce a vowel, the airstream is not obstructed. So that is the point you must not forget. All right? Okay. Let's understand vowel. Let me read this statement for you first of all. A vowel is a sound produced with the comparatively open configuration of the vocal tract. In everyday language, a vowel is a letter or sound of the English alphabet that is not a consonant. The two things are presented here. One, that vowel is a sound, the other one is the letter. Please, you have to forget so far as the English alphabet are concerned. But for your understanding's sake, it is written because the first part is very important so far as phonetics and phonology both are concerned. A vowel is a sound produced with a comparatively open configuration of the vocal tract. This is what I said when I was talking during the previous slide. There is no obstruction for the airstream. And yes, exactly, it is, of course, English letter so far as English alphabet are concerned. But we have to understand what is a vowel. A vowel is most often identified as a letter that is not a consonant. That is the marked difference between a consonant and a vowel. Whatever is not a consonant is a vowel. More specifically, a vowel is a sound that when paired with a consonant makes a syllable. Now, this is the third thing we have to understand. The first is, it is a sound when produced tongue with some sort of open configuration of the vocal tract. That means there is no obstruction of airstream. Second, it is different from a consonant. Third, that when paired with a consonant makes a syllable. When it is attached with a consonant, that becomes a syllable. We shall definitely talk about syllable in the coming days. What is a syllable? And then a vowel is in any sound that a letter makes that is not a consonant sound. Now the fourth category, in other words, I want you to understand what is a vowel. So the different 4 types of things have been presented to make you understand what is a vowel. So anything, any sound, any symbol that is sound, it sounds like that which is not a consonant. Okay? The way a consonant sounds, no, it doesn't sound. This time I am using the word sound as a verb. The way consonant sounds, a vowel does not sound. Is it okay? Further, vowel in human speech, sound in which the flow of air from the lungs passes through the mouth, which functions as a resonance chamber with minimal obstruction and without audible friction. So what happens, there is minimal obstruction, or I would like to say there is no obstruction. Minimal obstruction. When we produce this sound in human speech, remember, there is no obstruction for this kind of sounds. For example, if you say the word fit, f, obstruction, I, no obstruction, t, obstruction. And then if you say, for example, park, p, obstruction, a, no obstruction, k, obstruction. So in the case of f, obstruction, I, no obstruction, t, obstruction. In the word of park, p, obstruction, a, no obstruction, k, obstruction. So although usually produced with vibrating vocal cords, so that is something now new. Do you remember when I said that all consonant sounds are either voiced or voiceless? But all vowel sounds are vibrating. They are voiced. It is written, although usually produced with vibrating vocal cords, vowels may be pronounced without such vibration, resulting in a voiceless or whispered sound. But when they are whispered, there is no vibration at all. Remember, when we are, there is absolute vibration when we are producing vowel sounds. There is vibration. But when whispered, all right, we can minimize vibration. But remember, when we are producing vowel sounds, there is vibration. That's why I said that all vowel sounds are vibrating and they are voiced sound. But we made a category so far as consonants are concerned. Some are voiced, some are voiceless. And I hope you remember 15 are voiced consonants and 9 are voiceless. Absolutely right. And then from the viewpoint of articulatory phonetics, vowels are classified according to the position of the tongue and lips, and sometimes according to whether or not the air is released through the nose. That means sometimes we allow the airstream to go to nasal cavity area. But remember, it is written from the viewpoint of articulatory phonetics, vowels are classified according to the position of the tongue and lips, because everything happens where? Yes, exactly, the voice box. And sometimes according to whether or not the air is released through the nose. whether or not the air, whether or not the air is released through the nose. That's very important to understand. Okay? But remember, when we describe vowels, we must not forget this statement. And the statement is, a vowel is defined as a voiced sound in the production of which there is no obstruction, partial or complete, of the air passage. This is what you have to focus. And this is what I have been telling you. That vowel is such a sound, it is a voice sound. Why? Because in the production of which there is no obstruction, partial or complete, of the air passage. And you have seen and experimented, I think so, while producing certain consonant sounds. Sometimes while we are producing consonant, there is a complete blockage, complete closure. And sometimes there is partial closure or partial obstruction, you can say. But when you talk about description of vowels, you must remember always that the vowel sounds are voice sounds, because when we produce them, there is no obstruction, partial or complete. That's a very important point to remember to understand a vowel, because when we'll be describing in detail, the most important part you must remember all the time is, yes, exactly, each and every vowel sound is vibrating. There is vibration. Where? Larynx, absolutely right. The voice box. So this is the point you must not forget, okay? Well, my dear students, as I told you that the technical parts are coming, and you're going to come across the technical sides of this course that is called Phonetics and Phonology. The first technical part, so far as the vowels are concerned, is in front of you. I want you to concentrate, because this chart, this table is very important. This particular slide is a reference slide for you people to understand vowel sounds of English. On the top you can say vowels, and afterwards pure vowels and diphthongs. And of course there is a third category written over there. We shall be talking about them in detail, but the first thing you need to do is that you have to practice after me. Yes, exactly. We have got the vowels of English together with the keywords. So against each symbol, against each sign, there are some keywords given. So the keywords mean, so these are the words which carry this particular sound. So I want you to say after me. Are you with me? Here I go. E, fleece. C, machine. I, kit. Bid. Him. Minute. A, dress. Bed. Head. Many. A, trap. Bad. Ah, strut. Mud. Love. Blood. Ah, start. Father. Oh, lot. Odd. Wash. About. Again. Oh, thought. Low. North. War. Nurse. Stir. Learn. Refer. Foot. Good. Put. Ooh, goose. Two. Blue. Group. Now the diphthongs. On the right side you can see 8 signs, 8 symbols. They are known as diphthongs, glides. you can see two vowel sounds or two symbols are together. They are known as diphthongs, double sound. Are you with me? Here I go. A, face, day, break. I, price, high, try, oi, choice, boy, o, goat, show, no, ow, mouth, now, ear, near, here, weary, air, square, fair, various, oor, poor, jewelry, cure. And there are certain diphthongs. I have just mentioned some of them. For example, 4 are here, but there could be more. The first one is ow, The second is o, The third is oi, The fourth is I, But I want you to concentrate on the 20 vowel sounds. I'm not talking about the total number. We shall be talking about them later. But this is very important table. You must remember and you have to practice, please. Okay? My dear students, there are certain activities which you can do at home, and some are suggested for you here. If you want to understand the vowels, let's do certain activities. First, the vowel is given, and then some sort of activity, the way you can understand this sound. The pure vowels. The first is E. A smiling sound. Smile widely, make and hold the sound. Demonstrate that is a long sound. E. E. The next is I. Make the sound and make it obviously short. If necessary, contrast it with E. E is a long vowel sound. I is a short vowel sound. The third is U. A short sound. Exaggerate the forward position of your lips. One way into this sound is to ask students what noise a gorilla makes. You can practice this with your students if you are teaching. U. Then fourth sound is oo. Make and hold the sound. Use a rising then falling. You. Use a rising then falling intonation as if you have heard something surprising or some interesting gossip. Ooh. Ooh. Demonstrate that is a long sound. Again, this is a long vowel sound. Ooh. Then ah. A short sound. Make the sound and point out the loosely spread position of your lips. Ah. Ah. The next sound is It is also known as schwa sound. Schwa. The Friday afternoon sound. Relax your whole body. Slump up, slump your shoulders, relax your face and mouth, and say as though completely exhausted. What happens, for example, when you are very much tired and what Our next sound is the something horrible sound. Make and hold the sound, curl your lip, curl your upper lip and pretend to look at something nasty. Look in the litter bin if there is one to hand. Demonstrate that is a long sound. Look in the litter bin if there is one to hand. Turn, burn. Okay? It is again a long vowel sound. Our next sound is O. The either or sound. Liken it to the word O. Demonstrate that is a long sound. O. Walk, talk, whole, small, fall. O. The next sound is A. A. Make the sound and point out the neutrally open shape of your lips. A. 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 The next sound is Ah. Ah. Make the sound and throw your head back slightly as you do it. This works well if contrasted with A. Ah. This sound is Ah. Ah. Mud. The next sound is Ah. Ah. The holding the baby sound. Ah. Place your arms as though holding a baby and say Ah. Demonstrate that it is a long sound. Ah. Ah. Father. Park. Dark. Lark. Lark. L-A-R-K. Lark. Skylark. Okay? The next sound is Oh. Oh. Make the sound and point out your lightly rounded lips. Lightly rounded lips. Oh. Oh. Lot. God. Oh. Oh. Well, dear students, after having talked about the pure vowels, this is the time to talk about the diphthongs. Vowels but diphthongs, that means the double sound. There are certain suggestions over here written on the top, but again there are certain suggestions if you want to practice them. Yes, exactly, as a practicing teacher you can get your students engaged. If you are teaching somewhere, these are wonderful practical suggestions to make the students understand these sounds the way I'm trying to do. For example, at the top it is written, for all diphthongs, one of the best techniques is to get students to make and hold the first element, then slowly move to the second. Finish off by making the sound at a normal speed. Some other suggestions are made below. That means, first of all, since I told you two sounds are together, two symbols are together, two signs are together, but that means that makes one sound. That is why there is a glide. Glide. Let's start to understand the diphthongs, the double sounds of English. Of course, they are vowel sounds. The first one is ear. 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 Make the sound while tugging your ear. Make the sound while tugging your ear. 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 The next sound is oor. Hold the first sound and move to the second. Oor. 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 Poor. Oor. The next sound is air. Liken this to the word air. Point to your hair. Say over there or on the chair. All will give good examples of the sound which you can then isolate. Air. Chair. Snare. Air. Yes, air. The next sound is A. A. Pretend not to hear someone and say A. A. The next sound is Oi. Words work best here, such as toy, boy, enjoy. Please do not call these words as toy, boy, or enjoy. The sound is oi. Toy, boy, enjoy. Okay? The next sound is I. Please do not pronounce this sound as I. I. Make the sound and point to your eye. Make the sound and point to your eye. I. I. It's not I. I. High. Try. The next sound is O. Oh, hello. Said slowly and exaggerate a little works well. Oh, hello. Oh, road. Ho, goat. Oh. The next sound is ow. Ow. Shut your fingers in the door and sound ow. If you shut your fingers somewhere in the door, what happens? You say ow. Pretending to do this and making the sound while pulling a pained expression works rather well. Ow. Ow. Now, mouth. All right? Now, my dear students, it's very important to understand, because I tried my level best to give you demonstration, give you certain practices and practice, of course, because I want you to understand the vowel sounds of English. And as I told you that they are different in the sense, because most of your consonant sounds, maybe some symbols, they look like English alphabet, but at the same time, when you talk about vowel sounds of English, the symbols are a little strange. So I want you to understand. Now, I hope you remember that when we were talking about the classification of consonant sounds. Yes, that's great. You understand and you remember that some sounds are, so far as consonants are concerned, bilabial, some are labiodental, some are dental, some are alveolar. Do you remember platal, velar, glottal? Yes, absolutely right. But that's not the case so far as vowel sounds are concerned. We have to understand now what is the world of vowel sounds of English. I have presented before you through 4 or 5 different slides. First of all, I told you what in fact is a vowel. I tried to define the vowel, and at the same time there are certain 4 points of view I presented before you. And afterwards I tried to present before you the list of all vowel sounds. Yes, exactly. Some are pure vowel sounds and some are diphthongs, and at the same time some triphthongs. But remember, all are vowel sound. One thing which is very important, you might have seen that I am not producing R sound deliberately. I'm not producing R sound deliberately, and especially when I talked about the triphthongs, which I presented only 4, I think so. I deliberately, I'm not producing R sound. Remember, the British people don't speak the R sound, but there is a concept behind that. I want you to understand very carefully. The R sound is dropped by the British speakers if it is followed by a consonant sound. The R sound is dropped by the British speakers if it is followed by a consonant sound, but it is not dropped when it is followed by a vowel sound. I repeat, R sound is dropped by the British speakers when they speak English if it is followed by a consonant sound, but it is not dropped when it is followed by a vowel sound. For example, if I say very, I am using R sound because it is followed by another vowel sound, that is I, very. Alright? So you must bear in mind, this is very important, that the British English is not produced, it is not pronounced, it is produced but it is not pronounced when it is followed by a consonant sound, but it is definitely dominant and it is produced when it is followed by a vowel sound. Now, vowels have got different category. Some of the vowels are front vowel sounds, some are the central vowel sound, and some are back vowel sound. That means this is the voice box you can see in front of your computer, in front of you on your computer. You can see the front vowels, the central vowels, and the back vowels. But on your left you can see sometimes what happens. Our mouth spread. Sometimes our mouth neutrally open. Sometimes our mouth open rounding. And sometimes our mouth close rounding. On your left again, you can see close, half open, and open. If I, for example, produce the sound E, then A, then A, and if I produce the sound which is in the middle, in the central, Ah. And if I produce the sounds, you can see under back heading, oo, o, ah, and at the same time, ah. So this is what is very important to remember. This chart, this diagram, very important to understand, because some vowels are front vowel sound, some are central vowel sound, and some are back vowel sound. This is a list you must remember. This is a list you must remember. You must know when our mouth is spread, lips in fact, when neutrally open, when open rounding, and when close rounding. Are you getting my point? So I want you to practice this again and again. After this session, please sit and then draw. First of all, try to memorize. Try to store. And when you store, then produce the sounds which I have given you the list. For example, the previous 3 to 4 slides, these slides tell us each and every sound, okay? Yes, and you have to practice it. Good. Now it's very important, after having seen last slide, it's very important to understand that what is in fact vowel. Without having a closer look at vowels, I think so sometimes it becomes difficult for the students to understand. And let me tell you very candidly and openly and straightforwardly that to understand vowels takes more time. Okay? So as the consonant sounds are concerned, I have seen during my experience that the students catch them, they master them. But so far as the vowels are concerned, they really take much time to understand them. But once they take time, really they become smart speakers. Yes. Now I want to understand what's written on this slide. While producing vowels phonetically, we have to understand, and we have to understand what? There are 5 things we need to understand so far as the vowels are concerned. I want you to generate understanding of vowel sounds, and the first thing is the tongue position. The tongue position. How high in the mouth is the tongue, and which part of the tongue is the highest? That is what you need to understand. while having a closer look at the vowels, it's very important to understand, first of all, the tongue position. You need to understand how high the tongue is, of course. How high in the mouth is the tongue, and which part of the tongue is the highest. And then 2, the length. Are the vowels long or short? I have given you the list when I was demonstrating. I was doing some sort of activity and I was telling you, for example, E, okay, U, O, A. Do you remember? These are long vowel sounds, and we have got 5 long vowel sounds. And then the third point you must remember, the rounding. Are the lips rounded or not? For example, if you produce the sound O, rounded. But what happens? Oh, not rounded the way we produce O sound. The fourth point is nasality. Nasality. Is there free passage of air through the nose? Right? Nasality. Yes, exactly. Is there free passage of air through the nose? Whether the air is going through the nasal cavity? And the fifth point is diphthongs. Are they steady, or do they somehow change in the character? Do they somehow change in character? What happens, for example, I told you that the diphthongs are primarily, they are the glides, double sound. 2 signs are there. For example, A, I. We don't have to produce the way we produce normally, I. No, it's not like that. Okay? If we produce that sort of sound, what happens that there will be marked change in the meaning of the words. So if you want to have a closer look at the vowels, it is very important that you must consider these points. And what are they? Number 1 is the tongue position. Number 2 is the length. Tongue position, length. Whether there is a short vowel sound or a long vowel sound. Then rounding of our lips. The nasality. Whether the air is passing through nasal cavity. And then diphthongs. Right? Are they steady or somehow change in character? So these are the 5 points you must remember when you want to understand the vowel sounds. Okay? Now I want you to recall the chart reflecting the vowels, whether front, central or back. Now I want to read this statement. In order to describe the vowels, we usually draw 3 points in the horizontal axis, front, central and back, and referring to the part of the tongue which is the highest. Now this slide particularly describes what we have seen in the chart. In order to describe the vowels, we usually draw 3 points in the horizontal axis. And the axes are what? Either front, central and back, and referring to the part of the tongue which is the highest. And that's why we call them either front vowel sounds, back vowels, or the central vowels. Now I think you are in the position to understand that if I produce, for example, E, what kind of sound this is? Eh, what kind of sound this is? Ah, what kind of sound this is? Ah, what kind of sound this is? So this is in fact the horizontal axis. Either it's front, central and back. And in primarily, remember primarily, it refers to the part of the tongue which is the highest. Alright? The part of the tongue. Because what happens, we don't find any obstruction of air when we are producing all vowels. But this is the point we have to remember, that all these things refer to what? The part of the tongue which is the highest. And that makes what? Either front vowel, the back vowel or the central vowel. Okay? Now let's have a glance on this slide. During the production of which the front of the tongue is raised towards the hard palate. And what are they? They are front vowels. I, E, A, as in sit, seat, sat and sat. The sounds are I, E, A, and the words are sit, seat, sat, sat. Okay, front vowels. I, E, A. The words are sit, seat, sat, sat. What are back vowels? During the production of which the back of the tongue is raised towards the soft palate. For example, ah, oh, o, ooh, ah, oh, o, ooh. For example, ah, cart, oh, court, o, coat, book, tool. Back vowel sounds, ah, oh, o, ooh, ah, oh, o, ooh. You can use some more words containing these sounds. Ah, park, oh, lot, o, talk, wood, soup. Okay? Now let's talk about central vowels, during the production of which the central part of the tongue is raised. The central part of the tongue is raised. For example, ah, 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 as in the words mud, mud, about, earth, okay, central vowel sounds. Well, dear students, I used this term schwa, in fact, when I was talking about the sound about, against. But at the same time, I want to tell you that, for example, if you're dropping the R sound, this is what I told you in the British English. What happens, the British speakers, they do not speak the R sound, but there is some rule behind that. If after R the next sound is a consonant, remember R is dropped. But if after R there is a vowel sound, remember R is not dropped. So this is mostly what happens, schwa sound, that is very delicate sound when we talk about English vowel sounds. After having talked about the front, the central and the back vowel sounds of English, it is very important to talk about schwa, because it will help you in the coming days. Okay? The schwa is in the exact center of this chart which you have seen. Okay, the chart which you have seen when I was presenting before you the front, central and back vowel sound, exactly. It is in that chart. It is exactly in the center. Schwa is often referred to as the neutral vowel, the vowel in which the vocal tract is in its neutral state and most closely resembles a perfect tube. It's a perfect tube. It is in the neutral state, and that is one of the very beautiful sounds of English. Schwa. Right? When you want to drop R, and definitely the British speakers, they drop R. In fact, I'm not saying every time, but this is used, schwa, such as father. If you say, my father is away, this time I'm saying father is away. But if you say, my father works in a factory, so here I'm not producing R sound. My father works in a factory. After, yes, exactly, in father, when you say my father works in a factory, you can feel that there is no R sound. But if you say my father is far away, far away, far away, my father is far away, so you can just see and you can listen R. But if you say my father works, so that means schwa has taken the place of R. Okay, so that's why it's the neutral vowel. All the other vowels require that the vocal tract be deformed by moving the tongue body away from its neutral position, either up or down, backward or forward. Remember, all other vowel sounds want this one. They want what? That the vocal tract be deformed by moving the tongue body away from its neutral position, either up or down or backward or forward. But remember, this is the only vowel sound that is the neutral vowel sound known as schwa. Yes, exactly, it is central vowel sound, it is neutral vowel sound, but its specific name is schwa. So you must remember, this is a very beautiful but very delicate sound. Okay? Well, my dear students, we have tried, of course, both of us, me and you, all of us rather, we have tried to understand the vowel sounds of English, of course, by having certain words, and of course certain charts were there, and we tried to understand through the tables. Remember, at the end of this session, what I need to tell you is that on the basis of the vertical axis, we have the following types of the vowels. On the basis of the vertical axis, we have the following types of the vowels. It's very important that whatever we have discussed, whatever we have practiced now, what we have to understand, we have got two types. One is the closed one, the other one is the open. On the basis of the vertical axis, we have the following types of the vowels. So the first category is closed and second one is open. Now, what is closed? A closed vowel is one for which the tongue is as close to the roof of mouth as possible. A closed vowel is one for which the tongue is as close to the roof of mouth as possible. As in E, C, U, Su. So you can feel that your tongue is very much close to the roof of mouth, right? Then the second category is open. The first type is vowel. The first type is closed. Second one is open. So this is the second type, open. An open vowel is one which is produced with the tongue as low as possible and the jaws are wide open. An open vowel is one which is produced with the tongue as low as possible and the jaws are wide open. Ah, card, or hot. Closed, What is the position of tongue? It's as close to the roof of mouth as possible. Open. Tongue as low as possible, and the jaws are wide open. E, oo, ah, oh. Okay, you can practice it at home, no problem at all. This time you can practice, and afterwards you can put this slide in front of you, and whatever I'm saying, you can do the same thing. All right. Well, my dear students, now the time has come that we have to talk about self-assessment. Today what we have done, we have tried to understand first of all the description of speech sounds. In the start I had not detailed discussion because we have been talking about this during the previous sessions, but we definitely touched upon them. And then we also talked about the description of vowel sounds. That's why our today's self-assessment components are one that please try to describe the speech sounds. Tell us that what are speech sounds, and then how would you describe vowel sounds. Yes, exactly, you've got a material which is very much attached with this demonstration. At the same time you have got some sport material. So what you need to do is that you can consult, you can read, no problem at all. Many sources are available, so you can get the material more and you can understand. But the most important thing is that please record your voice. That's very important when you are practicing vowels. It is a must for you people. This is my humble request that you have to record your voice. Please first of all start learning how to write down the sign or the symbol of vowel. Of course we have to talk about vowel sounds, about consonant sounds in the coming days as well, but I think this is the time to start practicing what are vowel sounds, and you must be able to know what is the sign of one particular speech sound. Definitely we are very close to talk about phonology, and we shall be talking about phonology inshallah after the mid of this semester. But till we reach that particular juncture, what is required that you should be knowing what are consonants and what are vowels. All right, so for this session, thank you very much, and from my side, goodbye and good luck. Stay blessed, please.